Hi, I'm Kai and welcome to Skylight, the custom lighting mod. Now I don't know about you, but to me, lighting is one of the most important things in a theme park builder. I'm pretty sure a good 1/3 of all my time in Planet Coaster was spent on the lighting. Make sure it's all moody, it's all atmospheric, and it all drew you into the world. And I think you know what I'm getting at. Because this is really as good as it gets in Jurassic World Evolution 2. I mean, it's the middle of the night. This is as deep as the shadows go. Yeah, it's kind of flat, isn't it? It doesn't look very good. Now everything is lit up, things are in focus, there's sort of lights focusing you on certain aspects of the scenery, but it falls a bit flat, I think. And admittedly, part of that is because this is a demo park for the mod, so I haven't spent much time on it, but a big part of it is also the lighting. Now what if instead it looked like this? Yeah, a little bit better. We can still see everything, but things are way more in focus. The colors pop a lot more. There's way more contrast in the scene. It's way better for atmospheric gameplay, I think. It's way better for filming. It's better for pictures. Look at that. So this is better than vanilla, but we can go a step further. Why not make it look like this? Plenty of reasons. First of all, way too dark to play. You can't really see what you're building at nighttime. But if you want to film something, if you want to take some pictures, this is far better. Look at that. Look at how the fence pops here. Look at how the trees are being brought into focus by the lights. And look at that tower, the viewing platform. It seriously pops out of the background with the contrast. With this kind of lighting, you're no longer just constructing, you're directing. You're directing the guest what to look at, what to see, and how to see it. See, even the headlights of the Jeeps look so much nicer now. And you can still play, you can still see what you're doing. But I wouldn't recommend it. It's a little bit too dark for playing, I think. Oh, if only there was a way to switch between those easily, he says, leading into the next point. Well, if we go to the modding menu, there is. These are the Skylight customization options. You can switch between different presets. You can customize certain presets. You go to, where is it? There it is, default. Looks normal. And then we can switch. Takes a second to adjust. And it does work in both day, night, dusk, and dynamic mode. And this, of course, is the mode I use for the first-person mode teaser. But there are a lot of options here, so let's go through them. First of all, you have your color options. That's for sunlight, red, green, blue, because we can't have a vector, so we define them all individually. Same for moonlight, and then for ambient skylight. Ambient light is the light that's always there. So, as an example, if I go into... well, it's nighttime right now. So, if we disable moonlight, you see it's still pretty bright. That's because ambient light is up. If we disable ambient light, that was the wrong one. There we go. If we disable this ambient light, then things get seriously dark. And of course, if you enable moonlight without ambient light, then you can create really deep shadows. Which isn't quite strong enough. Oh yeah, because I disabled this. That 1, so that's 6.3. How's that? 3.5. I'll get into this in a second, don't worry. Just giving you an example of what it looks like. There you go. Very deep shadows because there's no ambient light, but plenty of light to see what you're doing. And I dare say this looks way better. You know, I'll save this ambient less thing as a preset that I'll package with the mod when it releases. I mean, look at this. It's so bright, but still, the colors are so deep here. Well, not the colors, the contrast is. So that's the colors. That's red, green, blue, red, green, blue, red, green, blue. Don't mind about the shades. That's just a quirk of it being disabled and enabled all the time. like this. It kind of sticks around different colors. It still works. But as I was saying, that's the colors. What are these intensities and these points about? Well, these are the whole number and decimal number of the intensity of the color. So if you have, say, full daylight and then 0 intensity, it's pitch black. Full daylight and then 100% intensity, it's very bright. So this lets you set the color of light, and then these let you set how strong the light is. And the reason they're split between the whole number and the decimal is twofold. First of all, if I include decimals here, then you have 12,800 values, and most of the important ones are down here. It's very, very difficult to select between them at that point. And second of all, the sliders in this game are hard-coded to not show you decimal points if the maximum value of the slider is greater than 2, I believe, which makes it very difficult to see what you're selecting. I did find a workaround this, that was to multiply everything by 100, so instead of 0.00 up to 128.00, it went from 0 up to 12,800. But even so, it was very difficult to select precise values, so I figured I'd split them into 2 separate sliders. And so, for the intensities, you have sunlight intensity, that's during daytime, moonlight intensity, that's during nighttime, and then the ambient light intensity. So that's the intensity of light that's always present, even if something isn't in sunlight or moonlight. And you have one for daytime, one for nighttime, and then weather. I'm not entirely sure what this is. I think this is for storms and stuff, but feel free to experiment. Now, I do understand this is a lot of options and it's quite cluttered, but you can remove some of them. And I'll show you how to do that later, as well as how to add more custom presets. But first, let's play around a little bit. Let's make moonlight very blue. Disable all ambient light again during nighttime, and weather as well, why not? And yeah, let's leave it at that. There you go. Way more blue. You can make it more red. You can make daylight super green and nighttime super red, for example. Just, showing you what you can do. Let's switch to day-night cycle and fast forward through that. So there we go. Works exactly as intended. Looks about as terrible as you'd expect. But let's go for something I quite like, which is to leave daylight as is, but for nighttime, disable ambient light, and drop moonlight to, say, 0.75. And now, let's fast forward and see what that looks like. Pretty good, I'd say. You can still build during daytime, and nighttime is way more atmospheric. So, as a reminder of what everything does, you have your presets that change the preset values. They'll save to your save file, so you won't lose them. Then you have your sunlight, moonlight, and ambient light color, which you can change on the red, green, and blue axes. Then you have your intensities, which you can change the whole number of, as you can see over here, and then the decimal point, as you can see, again, over here. So this, for example, would be 56.47. This would be 21.85. And this would just be 72. And this is just a multiplier for how strong the sunlight is going to be. Same for moonlight, same for all the other intensities. And all the values are set here will be saved to your player save, so you don't have to worry about losing them. So, with all that said, let's get into how you can add new presets, change the default values of presets, or reset them to the original values they had, and how you can stop some of these options from showing up and cluttering up the modding menu. And as always with my mods, you do that through the config file. So, you go into the mod folder, which is in your OVL data, and then into the config file. First of all, up top, you have settings for which options you want to show in the modding menu and which ones you want to hide. Now, the hidden ones will still be applied to the game, they just won't show up in the modding menu and clutter it. So this is mainly used to clean up the modding menu a little bit. Personally, I always disable the color options because I don't really use them. They're very useful if you want some specific pictures or videos, but I don't really play around with that, so I just keep the intensity options. And then you have your presets down here. These are all the presets that appear in the modding menu, except for default because that one's hard-coded, just in case you mess something up. That'll reset it to what the game is normally like. You can change the defaults here, and if you set the override saved values thing to true, then the next time you load the game, whatever you changed in-game will be reset to what's in this save file, or in this config file, sorry. So this is just a way to clean things up if you mess them up a little bit and you want to go back to what it was like. Or if you set some value here and you want to show it in-game. And if you want to add a new one, that's very simple. You grab this entire thing between this open bracket and this close bracket with the comma, that's very important. Paste it in and give it a unique name. The name has to be unique, it cannot conflict with other preset names. And if you create some presets you really like in-game, then you can copy them into this config file and then share the config file or just the preset table itself on Discord, Nexus, or wherever else, and let other people use your presets. And just to show how it works, let's set this to 64 sunlight intensity and, I don't know, 8 moonlight intensity. So to recap, we disabled the colors from showing up in the modding menu, and we added a new preset that's the same as those other presets, but with a different intensity for moonlight and sunlight. Now if we restart the game, and we're back in the game. If we go into the modding menu, you'll see the color options no longer show up because we disabled them, so no more sunlight, moonlight, or ambient skylight color. And we have the new preset we made with the new values we set for the intensities for it. And there you have it. Skylight, custom lighting. Pretty good for screenshots, videos, or just pretty decent atmospherics. It'll be out pretty soon.